guys, welcome to the Mother You Know, the Woman You Don't podcast from three women, mothers, family, who are here just to help women tell their stories. Our goal of these podcasts is to connect generations, reshape perspectives, and to inspire personal growth. If you heard our introductory episode that's already posted, you'll just know that we are two sisters with their mom who are sitting around talking about stuff we probably talked about a million times, just talking about it more to hopefully learn more about each other and to inspire with stories of perseverance, stupid mistakes, good mistakes, all that good stuff. So today on our episode, we are going to be talking with our mom. And this episode, Sissy, what did you title it?
The Mother.
The Mother. So today we're going to deep dive into Sylvia Serenil and find out more about who she is and how she came to be, and I'm sure why she is what she is, why she is how she is, and how that's affected her and has affected us and our family in the good ways. And so we're going to deep dive into Mom today and see what she has to say. So, Sissy, I'm going to turn it to you and let you kind of kick that off for Mom.
Well, first of all, yay! Thanks for doing this.
Yay.
I know it is out of your comfort zone. It is out of my comfort zone.
It is.
Listening to myself talk and listening to see myself on camera is not what I want to do.
Nope.
But I do want to have the conversation. So we're going to set my uncomfortableness aside and your uncomfortableness
That's right.
aside.
We're going to get out of our comfort zone, huh?
You just got to practice. I've got like 50 followers on TikTok, so I'm pretty used to that.
I know. Goals. Really set the standard.
I know.
Wow. I guess, listen. So, Mom, tell us a little bit about yourself. Like I admitted earlier today, I don't know where you were born.
Oh my goodness.
I know
that could be
but I don't know where you were born. I don't know.
Okay, we'll start. I was born in Houston.
I know. I love her. I love you more than Dorothy is apparently.
Yes, and I believe it was the Old Baptist Hospital that was downtown. So I was born here in Houston. I was raised in Houston. I'm a Houstonian to the core. And I was born to Annie and Clyde Chapman, and I was number 4. There was Pam, Claudie, Shirley, and then Sylvia. Me.
So you're not technically the middle child.
No, not. No, that would be Lynn. And one of 11 children. So it was a big family, and we were proud of it. And
run through the birth order for me, because I always struggle with the birth order.
Okay.
I always go Pam, Claudie, Sylvia. Pam, Claudie, Shirley, Sylvia.
Yeah, Pam, Claudie, Shirley, Sylvia, Loretta, Lynn, Alan, Beth, Mac, Deborah, Yvonne.
Got it.
So
did I get it?
9 girls and 2 boys. Yeah. 9 girls and 2 boys. That is a lot of girls.
9 girls.
That was a lot of women and women.
Yes.
Yeah.
9 girls and 2 boys. Now, see, my mother was one of 9 children. There were 7 girls and 2 boys. And my daddy was one of 12 children. And I don't know how many brothers and sisters was in his lineup. He was the baby. So they both come from big families. So big families wasn't a big deal. In fact, my mother always wanted 12 children, a dozen. And she always wanted redheads. And she never got redheads until both my brothers married fiery redheads. So she got her wish there. But we grew up very tight. Money was tight. But the thing is, we didn't know it. Mom and Dad, took care of us well. Daddy worked at the same company all my life. And so, things were tight, but we were just close. And so as the children come, the older children always took care of the younger children. So, we slept 6 to a bedroom. We slept on each other, it was a close-knit family. We were. And
You talked
so,
about, I remember you telling a story about how it was no different. It was not uncommon to have somebody taking a shower, somebody pooping, somebody trying to brush
right.
their teeth, somebody, that's
Yeah.
just kind of how. So
That's how it was. And it was not uncommon to have three people sitting on the side of the tub with their butt hanging over and peeing in the tub. And then truly, it was a lineup. You see, it was a cartoon.
ew.
And then my brother said, I never went to the restroom without having a towel over my lap because there were too many girls in there.
Yeah.
So bless his heart. That's probably what's wrong right now.
Well, that didn't scar him at all.
Yeah, we won't go into that at all. Um, so, and we didn't live in big houses, but we we were clean. My mother, we cleaned everything. So she taught us how to clean. We weren't like loads of people and messy. She had a sign in her house that said, "My house is clean enough to be happy and dirty enough to be happy and clean enough to be healthy."
Yeah.
So and she did. She was
Same.
I can't remember anything at this point where I felt anger or bitterness at my mother.
Yeah.
Some people are just always mad at their mom, and
Yeah.
I can't think of anything. And I believe it was because her mother was such a kind, even tempered woman, and she had 7 girls, and every one of them girls were just funny and happy and all. So I think that's a legacy that we're so lucky to have, because
Yeah.
there was not drama
Yeah.
in the families, so
Oh, see, I feel like I already screwed that up. That was
What happened? That's
messed
what
that up.
what happened?
Because I feel like we are full of drama.
well, I just think that's comic relief. I think it's just not as bad as you think
Boring
it
would our
might
stories
be.
be, yeah.
No. So that was Annie. That was mother and also and dad. But we're not talking about the guys today.
Yeah.
But we just grew up pretty close, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, I have to say that's one of the things that I've always loved about um, that side of our family is that it just feels close and it
Mm-hmm.
feels, you got drama here, drama there, or whatever, but with cousins and once we've gotten so
Right.
big, you of course naturally have drama. I don't even know how many first cousins we have, but
Come on.
they're
I can
they're
sit
just
here
like,
and count them, but it'll take a
yeah,
while.
I know
We
it's
can
okay.
figure it out, but
But it's we'll put a family tree somewhere.
yes,
On the
okay.
website. We don't blog about how many cousins we have.
We
It's fine.
will.
But I will say they are some of my most favorite
Oh, yeah.
people. Like there's
Yes.
just some of them, and we've got some generational things. So there's some that are my age, and then some that are really young and or in their 20s, so younger and different life stages. But just some of my favorite people on the planet. Like you just get so excited,
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, Misha,
when you get to
hey,
see
girl.
it. Yeah.
Yes.
Shout out to Misha. Everybody loves that.
Shout out to Misha.
But it's that
so
good close. It's like that close. I think, but what I think the foundation of what you're saying, like mom, of like you just being that kind or whatever, what trickled down from that is that ability to love them, and we don't see them all the time. We're lucky if we see them once a year, but you pick up exactly where you left off, which is something that you and your sisters do, and now their cousins do. That we can just get right where we're going. But that's something I think it's not taught. It just kind of is what it is from the
because it was that way. It was that way with mother and her sisters.
Yeah,
it just was, and so it just you're right. It just trickled down, and so you just pick up where you left off.
Yeah. And the other thing is loving unconditionally, because I always just remember I guess my favorite memory, especially of grandma specifically, is that she loved everybody the same.
She
like
did. Yeah.
because we've got when you got this many people, you got the gamut. You got sinner and saint and everything in between, and it
Yes.
just you never felt judged. You never felt
Mm,
different. She loved everybody the same and
she
loved
did.
everybody equally,
Yeah.
and you just never felt, you know, even me with my choices and mistakes and things like that
True.
that you make, it just never was an issue. It just felt like,
Yeah.
oh, hey, you got a baby, I love you both, come
That's
here, let's
right. Yeah.
so it's just I think that's something that's
Well,
really a testament to who
mm,
she was and how she was
Yes.
raised, and hope that that's something that comes down.
well, do you remember her
Well,
Bible?
I think
Her,
because
her,
she truly was a woman of faith,
yeah.
Yeah.
and her greatest desire was that it went in went down to her children, her grandchildren, and her great grandchildren. So you know,
So her
it was
Bible
just
had
her.
a list of everybody in the family. Exes, like if you got divorced, your ex was still in there, and
Was still in the Bible there.
it was still
It
in
was
the Bible.
still
In
on
the
the
back, she
prayer
had a
list.
list of everybody and their children and their grandchildren, and she would pray
Yes.
over them. I would assume
Yes, she did.
daily. But you go
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
and it's like that in the back of her Bible, it was just listed everybody in her generational tree, and she
Yes.
Yeah.
prayed over them. And I think that is a testament of who she was and
Yeah.
why I think we could be way more screwed up than we are now if she hadn't done that.
For
Except
sure.
For
for
sure.
sure.
Yes.
I'm afraid. But
Thanks, Annie.
let me just point out that the there's a scripture in Revelation that says the prayers of the saints just keep going on. They're still
Yeah.
out there. So you think, well, she just prayed that, and that prayer still prayed over uh, us and y'all and your children and your children. So being a woman of faith, I think it affects generation after generation. So I hope hope you know that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
What
that's the foundation, I think.
Yeah.
what is your this is something I asked grandma when I did that interview with her when I was in
Yeah.
college, the thing.
Uh-huh.
What is your first memory? Like what is your very first memory that you have of your childhood?
As a young child, as a
Yeah, like
baby, or as a okay.
what is the first thing that
Um,
you remember?
as far
Right.
back as I can go, maybe I was about 2, and we were living in a house over there in Sheldon. And I remember there was a construction. There was a guy in a um, uh, piece of equipment, digging something over there. And I was singing something. I don't even know what I was singing, but I was singing to the top of my voice. I must have been 2, and I don't even know what I was singing, but I was singing, and I was singing so loud that I hoped he heard me and thought I was singing good. Okay. And it's little bitty. I mean, I remember it's just little bitty, but he was out there
Yeah.
in a bulldozer or something. But I'm sitting at the window with the window up, and we used to have just attic fans, and just singing to the top of my voice. And it was somewhere in that time that Daddy's grandmother Chapman come and visited with us, and it's the only memory of her that I have. And she's a skinny little old lady with her hair pulled up in a bun. And I remember she was nice, you know.
Yeah.
And I kind of remember what she looked like, but that's the only memory of on my daddy's side that I can remember. But it was about that time when I was just singing my little head off, thinking I was just singing so beautiful, and he was,
It
and hoping
was.
he could hear me. So that's my earliest memory of life, you know. So we was living over in Sheldon somewhere. Uh, but you know, that's the earliest.
Yeah.
Um,
So
so
what are some of the things you remember? What are some of the things that happened, in your childhood that you feel like really shaped or had an impact on you that you remember, either with the family or outside, just in your school life and in whatever? I mean, like, what are something that really impacted you,
yeah.
and that shaped, you know, who you think you are today?
Well, I do remember. I remember a time when Daddy lost his job or left his job. I'm not sure, and we were just in we were in a mess,
Yeah.
and we there was probably, I think Beth was the youngest, so that was Pam, Claudia, Shirley, Sylvia, Loretta,
So 9
Beth.
kids in,
No,
right?
that would have been about six or seven
Okay.
of us. Um,
Okay.
and we moved into a like a 2-bedroom duplex, but it was over off of Harrisburg, kind of under and behind uh, that railroad track that goes over the road there where Memphis is. That
Yeah.
it's on
Yeah.
Harrisburg, and if you know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about, it was back
Yeah.
in there. So that was a tough neighborhood.
Yeah.
And
Like off navigation? That one?
yes, off of navigation or Harrisburg or somewhere over
Yeah.
there, for just for a few weeks. Um, and I remember we just Mama, all we had to eat was gravy and bread,
Nice.
and
Hey,
Dad was
It's ground beef gravy. Hello.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's true. But it was
SOS,
a
man.
tough time, and I remember
Yeah.
we were just sleeping on top of each other.
Yeah.
And I think Clarence was sleeping on the couch, and Beth was sleeping on at the foot of the couch, and she was the youngest at that time. But the thing about that was that Daddy was out uh, somewhere, and he ran into someone that worked with him, and said, "Oh my God, Clyde, where have you been? They've been looking for you at the job." And we didn't have a phone, we didn't have a car at that time, and so it was like the Lord giving back his job,
Yeah.
And so after that, we moved over to off of Shepherd.
How are y'all getting anywhere without a car?
I don't even know. I don't remember. I know he didn't have a car, and so they found a
Is it
house
because y'all wrecked
over
the van? Is that when y'all wrecked the van?
when we no. That's no, that was back when in the 9th grade.
Okay,
Few
that's
years
another
back.
story. We'll get to the van
that. That's
later.
a whole nother
Yeah.
story, I'm telling you. So anyway, and that's where we moved over there off of Shepherd, and
Yeah.
and was going to Pole Elementary.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so that was
Let's
when
talk about that.
Yes.
On
And
this week's
so
episode of True
but it
Crime.
was that, and that was
She's
the
gonna
first.
get her true crime in.
Yeah, she
Thank
is.
you. Let's talk about the true crime.
Yes.
Talk about the true crime.
So I know that my mother's parents swooped in and bought us some furniture and got us in a house. So we grew up having hard times too,
Yeah.
And so, and they bought the Christmas tree, her parents, her mom and dad. And so that was, it was off of Shepherd. I remember it was off of Shepherd at 45, and 45 was being built. It was when 45 was just in the construction phase.
Well, it's okay. It's still in
We lived
construction
on.
phase. It's
I
fine.
was like, good news,
Yeah.
it's still under construction.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's what's so sad. So, and we lived on one side of the
We just got canceled by
construction.
TxDOT.
They still don't have
know.
they still don't have it right. And Pole Elementary was on the other side of the construction, and so Mother would have to walk us across all this construction. And it was early in the year, and so we had. I got to where I didn't want. I got up that morning and said, "I don't want. I'm not going to school. I don't want to go to school." She said, "Yes, you are. Go get dressed. Go put your shoes on." And I wouldn't put my shoes on. I remember being in the closet hiding because I didn't want to put my shoes on. Didn't want to go to school. And so she made me put my shoes on, and she walked me to school, and went home. And so we're in school, and we're in the classroom. I'm in the first grade. My teacher's name was Miss Cornelius. And there was just an explosion that rocked the whole school. I mean, that kids were falling out of their chair. I mean, it was uh, a huge explosion, and I remember it clearly. Um, and so they made us all get down under the desk and all that. And after a while, um, Mother come and got us. And but the thing was that the top reading group got to go out to the playground to read their books, and I myself was not in that group because I couldn't hardly read. Yeah. But anyway, we find out that a man had come on with a bomb, and he was trying to get his child out of school, and the principal wouldn't turn the child loose, and so he set off a bomb on the playground.
I'm sorry, just because I've Googled this almost every day of my life. He was trying to enroll his children, if I remember, his kid, but he didn't have the right paperwork. Mm-hmm. And so they wouldn't let him enroll his kid. Because I think they were new to town. He was going through a custody or something like that. I'll have to go Google it.
Yeah, it had to do with custody.
It had to do with custody and enrolling the kid without the proper documents. And I mean, I think it was a bit extreme to blow up the school over that. But
a little bit.
But listen, have you ever stood in line to enroll your kids? There's a lot of paperwork. Not to make light of it, but
no, we're not making light because 6 people lost their lives, unfortunately. But
when you said check them out, I was like, oh, not check them out, but enroll them. Yes, totally. Yes. So you had to fill out the same paperwork twice. Like,
you had to show the shot record and all that. So it was.
I'm Googling it now as we sit here.
But
so whichever. How do you remember finding out about it was a guy with a bomb? In first grade, like you're in first grade.
Yeah,
you're
in first grade. It's little. And our reading group was out of our class, and some of the kids were hit with shrapnel. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of close to, it was something that we were close to. And I remember the ambulances come, and I remember a line of young bodies laying out there on the ground covered with sheets.
Yeah.
And so Mother was terrorized. I mean, she come running as soon as someone come over and told her that there was an explosion at the school. And so she took off running across all that construction, and she ran out of her shoes. And she says, one of the guys was hollering, ma'am, you forgot your shoes. And so she just said, I didn't pay no mind. I just kept running until she got there. Then remember, she's got 4 children in that school.
Yeah.
And so it was either Claude or Charlie had been on the playground, and the bell rang for them to come in. But it was not only they were coming in, but Shirley was coming out of the building at that time too, just before the explosion went. So it was pretty traumatic, I think, so that really has been one of the main stories in my life that makes me, I guess, wonder why would he do something like that? When you think of a killer that would kill him and his son, and the principal and teachers were injured and kids were injured, and all that. So I don't know, that wouldn't have set me on a path for forensics, I guess, but it really is, was a powerful event.
Well, it's traumatizing.
And they're like, it is. And so
I would imagine that stuff like that didn't happen. But we have so much access to stuff now. Anytime there's any kind of attack or terror, whatever it is, we get instant access to it. And I don't think that. So I would imagine that a lot of that stuff was happening back in 50? Was it 59? Okay, I googled it again.
Was it 59 or 60?
September 15th, 1959. Yeah.
Yes. So it's just right after school started, and Mother said, she thought, oh my God, I'll never get her back to school. But the thing is, after that happened, I didn't have a problem going to school, And so at that point, I don't know. I remember just not, I remember being afraid to go to school. So, but even sometimes that young, you can feel um, something. I don't want to say it was the Holy Spirit, but mother felt like, well, that I really did have a feeling that something was going to happen. So,
Yeah.
and it did, but it was by the grace of God. I was a bad reader and I didn't get to go out on the playground. I was behind.
Oh, yay for illiteracy.
Yes.
Yay.
Yay for the
So
lower 50%.
Yeah. And that is one of the things that affected us a bit.
How long before you went back to school, or did y'all just go right back?
No, I think we were, I want to say we didn't go to school for a few days.
Yeah.
And all. So, and Daddy was working at Reed Road a bit, and someone come in and said, "Doesn't your kids go to Poe Elementary?" And he said, "Yeah." And he gave him his keys and said, "Well, here's my car." And so he goes out in the parking lot and finds a whatever make car he was, and he got in it, drove, and then later on he brought the car back to find out that he had got in somebody else's car, the wrong car, and
the keys
how
work?
the key worked. He literally drove away in someone else's car, and and you think, well, did they do cars? Where the keys were interchangeable, but it was, yeah. So
Grand Theft
he
Auto.
took somebody's car and later took it back, but that was the first grade,
Yeah.
and I guess I learned how to read pretty good, but
Thank God.
I can read now.
Okay.
But in the last day of school, I was out on the playground and fell and broke my collarbone, and went into the classroom. And yes.
Oh,
It was the last day of school. The first weeks of school starts out with a bomb and broke my collarbone. The last day of first grade, so I remember first grade well.
Traumatically.
Yeah, traumatically. Yes. And the teacher didn't pay any attention to me crying or the bone sticking out of my shoulder here. And I come home crying. And when mother saw that, she took me to the doctor and had the x-rays. I mean, she went back and got onto that teacher real good.
Yeah.
Because there was no excuse for not paying attention to, crying child. But I was told to go back to my desk. So that traumatized me too, so, but those are some of the earliest memories of traumas in our life.
Yeah.
And we look back now and think, oh, that wasn't no big deal. It was a big deal.
No, that's a pretty big deal.
It was a big deal.
Even by today's standards, still pretty big deal.
And that was about 6 years old.
Yeah.
And also,
so growing up, what was your favorite memory of Grandma?
Grandma.
Growing up, like, what is your favorite? What do you remember? I mean, funny. I always remember just being so pleasant and funny, and she had a good laugh, and one
of my favorite things about mother was that she started sewing. Okay, so she would sew our clothes and she would make our clothes. Well, somebody gave her a pattern for panties. And she started sewing all our panties. So who wears homemade panties? That's what I want to know. But all our underwear were homemade, I'm telling you.
Oh,
that's awesome. Was it made the same cloth as your clothes, or was it like a cotton?
No. She would find a what do you call it? Not felt, but that soft little cotton
I was like,
all different
Phil.
colors. And I remember pink being pink or the pastel blues and all that. So yes, for many years we had homemade
I've got
panties.
so many things just to say about that. So I don't even know where to start. I don't want to take every
Especially
time,
if they
Mama.
were felt. 'Cause
That's
the
so
It
uncomfortable.
wasn't as, it's not felt, but it was that soft cottony that'll come
that
to
sounds
me
hot.
in my sleep.
Sounds hot.
My sleep. So she did.
It's
She
not
did.
meant to sweat down there.
So funny.
No, it wasn't. So, but that's just that was just mother. And
Yeah.
then, you know, she could make a chicken go a long, long way, you know.
Yeah.
And
She was so lovely.
she I mean, she cooked big meals on a budget, you know.
Yeah. What was your favorite meal that she made?
Um, I loved her liver and onions in gravy. No. She knew how to do it. Now I've never cooked it. How many liver meals did you get from me?
I get
Y'all didn't need it.
in the giblet gravy. That's my favorite thing, minus the liver. You got
Okay.
so
But that's one thing that she did really good.
yeah.
You know, there was a pasta
I was going to
and
go with the goulash.
tomato.
I was going to go with
goulash,
chocolate mayonnaise
yes,
cake.
okay. Okay.
No,
Well,
I don't
you
think the
both-
mayonnaise
you're
cake
right.
was actually grandma's. I think it's Lynn.
my grandma did
Yeah,
that.
the mayonnaise cake was mother's
okay.
recipe. No, that's mother's and her mother's
The ones
recipe.
we do are from a box. Grandma did it from scratch.
The goulash was Daddy's mother's recipe.
Oh, okay. Well, hands down favorite meal.
Yeah,
I will take that on my last.
You'll
We'll
take
talk about
goulash. We'll take
we'll
goulash
talk about
any
Connie
day.
in another episode, but yeah.
Yes,
No,
we will.
No, the goulash even beats that. It just is my favorite thing to
I know,
eat
girl.
for 4
And
days.
the trick is to cook the egg noodles in the tomato juice.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
Yes.
So,
So yeah.
so thinking about your, I knew y'all grew up in the church. So y'all grew up going to
Woodforest Baptist Church.
Woodforest Baptist Church, which
Yes.
is not around anymore, but y'all were there for years and years and years, and you grew up there.
Yes.
And going through middle school and high school, what was kind of that like for you? Were you outgoing? Were you, in
I
the
was
drama
not.
club?
No.
What clubs were you in?
I was never in a club. I
Yeah.
was never in a club. I wasn't a Scarlet. No, I didn't do that. And we didn't go to the dances.
For those of you that don't know, my mom went to North Shore High School, which is here in Houston. Go Mustangs. I also went, my sister graduated from there.
Yeah.
We do all have that in common. And they still,
Yes.
North Shore is still going array. And
Before they were good at football.
it was before, but they're good now.
Yeah,
So
they're great now. Yeah.
They're excellent now.
Oh,
So
they're
we
state
are,
champions.
yeah.
They didn't win this
Multiple
year,
times.
but that's okay. It wasn't their year.
But so we all went to.
And we also have a brother who went there too. It's not just us girls, just FYI.
Oh yeah, we do have a brother.
Yes, we do.
Forgot about him, but yes.
Yes.
But yeah, so you were in school. You weren't you didn't do band or choir or
I didn't.
clubs.
No. I just was happy to get to school and leave. Now my life centered around the
maybe
youth.
Maybe it was that reading thing. I don't know.
Yes, it was. It was. Now I was making pretty good grades, and I had my friends, but the youth at church was a big deal, and that's where all our activities were. And we just didn't have the money. We just didn't have the money to go out for Scarlets or join any clubs or being in the band or anything like that. We just didn't. And so I dated a few guys, and that was the surfer guys was the big deal. It was either surfer guys or goat roper, which was the cowboys,
nice.
The Western guys.
Literally, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, what is that a euphemism for? But it's a literal goat roper.
It's what we called them. It's what we called them. So
I ain't judging, I'm just asking.
The Beach Boy type was in the day with the Beach Boys and all that. So it was, So I did graduate. I was going with a guy in 11th grade who was a Marine and did serve a year in Vietnam. And there's a lot of uh, trauma in that, because we just spent the year watching all the news and always looking for the news on what was going on in Vietnam at that time. And it was a massacre. It was just, it was a losing war and all. And so his mother was so sweet. I remember Mary, and she got cancer, and she was a good close friend of Mother's. And so Mother was such a compassionate, kind person. And when it come time to deal with death, she was just there. She just knew how to minister to people who were so sick. And her mother died of colon cancer. So my grandmother died of colon cancer when I was in about the 4th grade. And so that just set me up to be afraid of having colon cancer. Because, at that time, it was just, it wasn't caught early, and it wasn't treated like it is today. And it was deadly at that time. And so, colon cancer has always been a worry of mine.
Yeah.
So it was good to find out that I had diverticulitis instead of colon cancer, after growing up. Yes. So, that was good to know. But, so, and it was a real fear in my life for many, many years of worrying about colon cancer. But this is a story. I don't think I've told very many people this. But it was in the years when Daddy and I were going back and forth between Houston and Toledo Bend, the lake house. And so, we'd come up, we'd go home. And there was just one time I was suffering with stomach pain. And I was just praying to the Lord. And I told him, Lord, I need a sign. I need you to let me know that I don't have colon cancer. I don't have, because it was probably in those years where diverticulitis was really bad. And so one day we're returning from the lake house. We're on 96 going south into Lumberton. And on the side of the road, there was a big billboard. And I'd seen it all the time. They were always changing. And I kid you not, I promise you, we're coming home. And there was a sign that said, Sylvia, you do not have cancer. I swear. And I looked at it. I'm watching it as we pass. And I asked Daniel, I said, baby, did you see that? Did you read that sign? He goes, no, what? I said, that sign said, Sylvia, you do not have cancer. And I thought, okay, God, thank you. But
why would it say Sylvia?
With my, it's a fact with my hand up. And so I've told that to our Bible study ladies the other day, and I forgot about that until we were talking about, does the Lord answer prayers, or does he give you signs, or, whatever. And genuinely, the Lord is my witness, so.
Wouldn't it be awesome if that was like a billboard for like colon cancer?
I'm not kidding you. I'm Googling it because I will die if I could.
It was like, it was going into on this side of Sealy before, Silsby.
Yeah.
Where you get to Silsby, and there's that curve in the road before you hit down there. And it was, it's not there now, and it wasn't there for long because I tried to,
well, God didn't
see
need
it a
for
few
long.
times.
He just needed it there for like one day.
So I thought, there's somebody else named Sylvia that's worried about having cancer. Must have had, had a good report. So, that's I just believe in God answering prayers for us,
Well, sometimes God comes to you as a burning bush. Sometimes it's a whisper.
Yes, that's true.
Sometimes
that's true.
Yes,
that's right. So, but Grandma had died of colon cancer when she was about 50. She was 56. So
Yeah.
that's very young. But Mother's, I remember Mother going and being with her and showing such grace. And when her mother passed away, I remember
Mhm.
Mom's heart was broken, but
Yeah.
yet she went there and nursed her mother. And uh, maybe this may be for a different time, but just what that period of time that Grandma went through, and
Mhm.
and how Mother took care of her.
Yeah.
I was probably in the 4th grade, but I remember that clearly. But I do remember that her dying of colon cancer impacted my fear of having cancer, and I never did. And
Yeah.
as of right now, I'm pretty sure it's the diverticulitis, So, uh,
Declaring.
uh, anyway,
But you were saying
yeah.
about Mary. You were saying about
And
Mary, your
Mary,
friend's mom. Yeah.
yes,
That she had passed away. And
yes, that she
yeah.
had cancer. It was the mother of the young man that I was
Yeah.
going with in the 11th grade. He was a Marine, and she was dying, and he got to come home just before she died. So I
Yeah.
remember, and Mother was with her when she passed away.
Yeah.
And so I just remember the impact that war had on all of us. So even
Yeah.
to this day, I just don't watch war movies. I just can't watch war movies.
Yeah,
Anything.
which I never understood growing up. I was like, dude, it's Saving Private Ryan. It's the best movie ever.
No,
Like, why
no,
can't you
no.
watch this?
That was
It turns
that
out
was
you said he was he had never didn't come back the same.
no. He
You
didn't
know.
come back the same at
Yeah.
all. It was
Yeah.
just so sad to see how how they come back.
Were
Yeah.
you in love with this guy? Like, did you feel like this was going to be? Because obviously this was
No.
before you met Dad, but was he just a boyfriend or was he
Oh, he was
serious?
pretty. He was just real pretty. And there was another girl named Beth who just was crazy about him. And so I
But
was
Mama
just so
got him.
I had him. And so while he was over there, and there's a picture of me, and I hadn't seen it in a long, long time, in a blue dress with a white, which your daddy loves, if I ever find it again. But the thing
With
is,
the
it
white
was,
overlay, the white lace overlay.
yes,
I've
yes.
seen that. But I probably have it.
Oh,
Or
do
maybe in
you?
my box of photos. Maybe because I've seen that photo.
Yeah, yeah. So it's been a year in Vietnam.
Yeah.
So that picture was made to send to Vietnam for him. And I'm not sure how I ended up with it back, but I did, because I broke
Probably
up.
the breakup.
Is that
Probably
the
the breakup.
breakup? He had given me a diamond ring. It wasn't engaged or anything like that. And I gave it back to him, but I have regretted. I thought, dang, I should have
Yeah.
kept that ring, because it was real pretty,
Yeah.
But uh, yeah, the Vietnam War had an impact. So no, I don't.
So you were a junior when you were dating him, and I guess he was a couple
Yes,
years
11th
older.
grade.
And then
11th grade.
okay.
Yeah.
So does that like kind of was he like the only? And then did you meet Daddy when you were still in high school, or were you already graduated?
Okay, wait, Lydia. Can we hold this for 1 second? I've got to go to the bathroom.
Okay.
Sorry. Sorry. You can edit this.
No excuses. Time to take away from our sponsors. Call the guard. Get your at-home colon cancer test.
Or Depends. We can do a Depends commercial
I'm
right
leaving
out
this
here.
in. We're beside the P. We're leaving it in. And we're going to talk about colons.
She
Just
should
for the
brought her
record, I brought
Depends.
you with me so I can hear y'all.
Are we going to get the flesh on this?
You are.
And the tickle.
Oh, God.
So you were dating this guy in like junior high. Did you meet Daddy when you were still in high school, or were you already graduated when you met Daddy?
I met him. He came to church with a friend of mine and her mother at Woodforth Baptist Church, and he was high as a kite. He had a reputation for being a very mean and she had come to church one Sunday morning after a party they went to, and she was telling me about how she slapped him and he slapped her, and a fight they were having. And I thought, oh, why are you hanging with that jerk? But he had a reputation, for he was a football player. He's captain of the football team, and there were people at the church that always went to the Glen Park ball games to watch Danny Serenil play football. He was fantastic. And
A legend,
so
if
I
you
knew
will.
him. Huh?
A legend, if you will.
Yes, he was. And so it was at the revival, our senior year, that there was a youth revival in Galena Park. And so he come to know the Lord. He got saved, and the Lord changed him. It was February 3rd of 71. And so I knew about him. I knew who he was. And then he started coming to Wood Forest Baptist Church. And so we just knew who he was. And I don't know that he knew who I was. But at that time, he was going with a girl. I guess I can't say her name. And they were walking across the churchyard. And I thought, Lord, there's my husband. You're going to have to do something about that someone. And so it was at the end of the school year, and he started coming to Wood Forest. And so, I knew him. I don't know that he knew who I was. And he got invited to usher at a Christian concert at the Coliseum at that time. And so he asked Brother John, well, are there any youth that would like to come and usher at this Christian concert? And so Brother John told him, well, the Chapmans and the Diamonds and a few other people. And so we got together and we all went to the Coliseum to usher and go to the concert. And so we just sit down beside each other and started talking. And that's all she wrote, because that was like in June. And by the end of July, we were together. And so he took me out on a date. We went to eat, and
Tell them where. Tell them where you went.
It was a truck stop there on let's see, Federal Road. Is it Federal Road that runs into Uvalde? Right there, right on the other side of that bridge right there. And then I think we ate at Monterey House one time. And then we just started seeing each other. Of course, he'll tell you, he's got stories to tell about meeting the Chapmans at that time. But by July, August, we were pretty sure, Yeah. And he didn't propose like getting down on his knees, but he did. We were sitting there talking. He says, well, I know something about us. And I said, I think I know that too.
Yeah.
And so he said, well, I'm going to ask your dad if I can marry you. And he did. He asked Dad, and his story is everybody was sitting on that log outside the house, sitting in a row, while he was trying to talk to Daddy about my hand in marriage. Of course, Daddy was thrilled because he thought he was the greatest thing ever. And that's what she wrote. That was it.
And y'all were married 6 months later?
January 1st.
Yeah.
After July, August, September, October, November, December, January. And so my sisters were my bridesmaid, and it was simple. It was a simple wedding. We didn't spend a whole lot of money, but we made made my wedding dress, made all the bridesmaid dresses. Well, not all. It was Claudia and Pam.
Did
With a
grandma
big
make your
floppy.
Did grandma make your wedding lingerie out of?
Do what?
I was just
Grandma make
thinking,
your wedding
did y'all
lingerie?
have matching
Hey,
panties?
felt
New felt panties?
No, no.
some Daniel's girl on the
Was
bottom.
I was not wearing the granny panties, at that time.
Um,
But we had we
But that
married
was the
and
flu,
run off
right?
to
Daddy was sick
run
as a
off to
dog.
college. Huh?
Daddy was sick as a dog that day, right? Like he had the
Yes,
flu
he
really bad.
was. Yes, he
We're
was.
sure he
He
wasn't just
was.
hungover, but that was post Jesus, so
yeah,
he wasn't
Yes.
hungover. He was just
yeah,
No.
not
sick.
hungover.
No, he really had the flu. He was
Yep.
running fever and throwing up and diarrhea and all
I
that.
bet that makes for a romantic evening.
Oh yeah.
And wait, so
Yeah.
this was y'all's right out of high school. So you were out of high
Yes,
school
we're just
essentially
right out.
6 months, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So right out of high school. So the
yeah.
other thing here is, I guess, something we've never talked about, because for me it just feels normal, is the fact that Dad was Hispanic and your side of the family is white. So back then, was there ever any cultural things that you guys dealt with? Or I don't know that I want to say, because for me, where we grew up and it was really culturally diverse. So to me,
It
it
wasn't a thing.
feels, growing up, it didn't feel like a thing for like mixed race. So we certainly are,
Yeah.
mixed race kids. But how was that ever a thing for y'all? Did it ever feel like an issue for you guys back in would be the 70s, right? 71?
Yeah, it was 72. So yes,
Yeah.
White girls didn't date Hispanics and,
Yeah.
and all, and certainly not black men
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
But it wasn't an issue
Like
for my
grandma.
parents.
Yeah.
So she was concerned about.
Mhm.
She didn't want me to date an Italian.
Yeah.
Now, is
You've
that
told us
appropriate?
that
Can we?
before.
Is that
Yeah.
politically
No,
politically incorrect?
But what's funny
know.
is that it shows, just depending on your story and the times, like it shows. It just shows the difference between now and then. Because, like, to me, you
Yes.
think
Yes. So
Italian
yes,
man, I'm
it
thinking
was an
yummy.
issue.
Hello,
Yeah.
yummy.
I think I broke the mold. I think
Yeah.
I started the trend, or
Yeah.
But yeah, it was unusual.
Yeah.
And all, but it was never an issue with my mother, my family, ever.
Yeah, and not Dad's family either.
No, not Dad's family.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
no, not at all.
Yeah.
Now, Grandma didn't speak English or
Yeah.
much English at that time, and neither did Isidore.
Yeah.
And that's just something they had, picked up as we grew.
That's our
in the
grandparents on my
family.
father's side, by the way.
Yes, yes,
For those listening.
yes. So I just,
Yeah, it was never
it was
an
never
issue.
an issue.
Yeah.
Other than the fact that Mother thought he could be Italian, and that
Yeah.
was just
She
out
was
of the
super worried
question.
about
She
that.
was super not, her girls were not going to
Yeah.
marry Italian.
Yeah. You think it's the machismo?
Do Italians
I
have
don't know.
machismo?
The what? Well, Italian.
Yes.
I mean, there's like a male.
Yes,
like
a male dominant.
I guess I was sort of saying, like, back then, was it like
whatever the Italian equivalent of machismo is.
Yeah,
because the only the only Italian that she knew was a woman and a man, and they were friends. A few years earlier, maybe when I was in the 4th, 5th, 6th grade, and he was just a mean, big, burly brute.
Yeah,
and he was treated his wife bad.
Yeah,
and he had a German Shepherd dog. He had 2 daughters and a German Shepherd dog, and the girls were sweet, and I remember them, dancing and all. But he had this German Shepherd dog that he would say, "I'm going to stick my dog on you. He's going to eat you up." And I mean, it was just a mean man. And I remember one of the girls was picking me up and saving me from the dog or whatever. And so that's the reason that Mother would not
Yeah, this was
She
based
just
on
thought,
him
yeah,
just being a
based on
jerk.
him, yes, which was
So
not,
we're really not mad at Italians at
no,
all.
we're not, because we love
He's right.
Italians. We love their food, yes, but based on that,
Yeah.
she
Okay.
was no. If he's Italian, you can't. You're not
Yeah.
going to
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
Um, but it was okay to be Hispanic,
Yeah.
but you
Yeah.
couldn't be. You wasn't going to be
Was she
Italian.
worried about
So
it?
yes, she
Yeah.
was. But that's the reason I
Uh,
look back and think, that must be the reason I don't have pets. I never
yeah.
wanted a dog. I
Yeah.
never wanted y'all to have a dog. You
Yeah.
know, I think if you have one, you better treat it right. But
Yeah.
I just didn't want to be responsible for it, and I just never had that love for pets.
Yeah. All thanks to
Which,
the Italian
yes,
guy.
yes, it's that German Shepherd, Italian German Shepherd, that was going to eat me up. So,
That's
uh,
funny. So right after high school, y'all get married in January, and y'all immediately move to go to college.
we go to college,
Right.
girl.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
we had to get married, not for
Mhm.
the usual reason, but
Yeah.
because school started on January the 11th.
Yeah.
And so we take a day and we drive to Marshall to get Danny enrolled in school
Mhm.
and to look for some place to live and to talk about me a job. And there was a couple of weeks before the wedding.
Yeah.
And so we get up there, and Dr. Eugene T. Moore was such a kind guy that before the day was over, we had grants, we had loans, I was enrolled in school. Danny was enrolled in school.
But you
We
weren't
had
going
a
up there
place to
for
live.
you, right? You were
No,
going
I
up for
wasn't
Daddy,
going.
and he and Dr.
Yes,
Moore convinced you,
yes.
I guess,
He
to go to
decided.
college.
Yes, so it was easy for him to, he was a dean of finances, is what he was, and so they were so sweet. Him and his little wife, they had a little bitty studio apartment on the back of their house, and it was empty at that time. So he was just thrilled to death to I think we had to pay $50 a month uh, to rent there for, I don't remember how many months we stayed in that little apartment. But yes, we did start school, and Dr. Eugene D. Moore wanted me to be a school teacher. Well, and that's what I was going to go to college for. Well, there was nothing in my being that I wanted to be a school teacher. Never in my life had I thought, oh, I want to be a school teacher. No, never. But I loved college, and I enjoyed the school, the classes and all that. And I did really well. There are preachers today that graduated because I got them through science. I'm telling you right now, there's a few of them guys that wouldn't have made it except for my
Yeah.
notes in science.
Yeah. So was that your favorite subject? Was science?
I love science, but
Yeah.
no, I was just good at taking notes.
Yeah.
And they were
okay.
they were,
Not
they
good.
were no,
Not good at it.
at all. So I loved college. I loved being there. But I wasn't going to be a school teacher. I didn't want to be a school teacher. But I'm going to college for something, but I didn't know what for. But anyway, it wasn't so hard for me to quit school when I got pregnant with you. Yep.
I was about to say, because you ended up you didn't graduate from college.
I didn't. I had 2 years, and I always wanted to go back, and always kept, I'll go back. Yeah. And so,
do you regret that? Do you regret not going back?
I do regret not finishing that. Now that I know, I would have been NCIS. I would have been in forensic, if I knew that was an option back then, but I didn't know that.
Just so y'all know, she has told us that we would not have been born had she known that was a thing, because she'd be a CSI or an FBI agent or something right now.
But East Texas Baptist College did not offer that at the time. So
darn them.
Dadgum.
So I don't know, Bible, forensics, they've gone together.
Yes. No.
I don't get it. That's on them.
Murder, serial killers. I just didn't have a class in that, So yeah. But yeah, I
So
do.
you found out.
That's that unfinished thing that, I thought, oh, and Dr. Eugene T. Morris said when we were talking about uh, dropping out and all, said, you're going to regret this the rest of your life. Don't do it. Don't do it. And I thought, he was right. He was
Yeah.
right.
So,
Yeah.
sorry, you found out you're pregnant. Tell me, like, what was that day like? Like, what was it like to find out that you're going to be a mother for the first time?
It was natural to me. It was all that I ever wanted to do.
Like, how did you go? Did you go take a test? Like, did you go pee on a stick? Did they have peeing on a stick back then?
No, you had to go to the doctor and give him your urine, and then I don't know, it was a rabbit test or something. I don't even remember. But yeah, he was the one that would.
Were you okay? That's what I'm trying to ask. Was your period just late, and you're like, okay, yes, I'm late.
Yeah,
let's go see what this is about. Okay.
Yeah. So, and this was 3 years into our marriage. We were still in school, and all, but it was just a plan. It was just getting pregnant was not a, and the thing is, I was not on birth control very long after we got married. So it was just, I guess, God's timing. But yeah, I was happy to be pregnant.
Was it an easy pregnancy? Like, did you get sick a lot, or?
I did. I did have a lot of morning sickness with Dorcas.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Yeah. So, oh my God, it was, it was very special. We were very, very happy to be pregnant. And, and that's at that point we started pastoring Vivian, Louisiana. So I was pregnant at Vivian, Louisiana. And that's when, that's why you are really a Louisianan, right there. So, you were born there.
Yeah. So what was your first, like, once I was born, and it was God's gift to parents?
Yes, you are.
You're welcome.
But do you want to know where your name come from?
I mean, I know. You could, yeah, that's going to be something else. Like, you really straddled me there. Like, you really.
We're going to make it easy on her, Mom.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
But is there, okay, let me ask you, is there any time in your life you thought, oh, I'm glad she named me that?
No, now. I do say that now, once I'm an adult, because it's especially in the corporate world, and when you're meeting people, it is always a conversation starter. It's always people don't remember. I mean, don't forget it. So it's not like I'm a Sarah or a Mary or whatever. It's something that people don't forget. And like I said, this last job, it was the job I have now. My interviewer was the first meeting I had kind of with the partner of this company. He gets on, and the first thing he says is, "I know exactly what your name means, and I know where it comes from, just so you know." Oh, great.
Did you tell him? So do I.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, yes. So what about the guy at Nico's,
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I do love him. He does like that.
Yes.
Because it's Nick. But yeah, no, I do know how I got my name, but please feel free to share how you chose to name all of us biblical names, with just me having the hard one.
Oh, well, there was the daughter of one of the deans at the school, and I went on a youth as a youth counselor with the youth group, and that was her name. And she was dark-headed. She was so cute and so pretty, but I kept thinking, who named you? Where'd that name come from? I don't even know how I did not know that was a Bible name. I look back and think, how did I not know that?
Yeah, Dwayne, my husband, always says, first time I met you, I thought, what were her parents smoking? That's what he thought.
Well, anyway, and at that moment, at that time, I thought, I'm going to name my first daughter Dorcas.
Yeah.
And then I knew what the story behind that is.
Yeah.
And so I thought, I think you've lived up to your name.
I'll do all right.
You do.
Didn't Dorcas raise from the dead?
Dorcas
did.
was, Peter
Well,
did.
listen, we're gonna get into that on my episode.
So
That's one
we'll
I'm
talk
trying.
about being like a zombie or something. We'll tie that in
Yeah.
somehow. Okay.
Yeah, and then let's see, there's 4 years between y'all, and so I was always going to name my daughter Lydia Elizabeth. I always was, and so you come along, you got it. But Lydia was the seller of purple. And she was a businesswoman. She was a deaconess. I think Lydia was. I believe it was Lydia, but she had a church. She led a church in or a group in by the side of the river. That's where was it Peter or Paul come along, and so Elizabeth in the Bible. So the Bible. I give y'all Bible names. I wasn't about to name you after a TV star or soap opera star.
Yeah.
And all that. So
during that time when we were home, so when we were born, you were always. I don't remember you working outside the home. I remember you being at home. Yeah. So
I stayed at home.
A stay-at-home mom. Yeah.
I stayed, and I chose to do that, and I wanted to do that, but that, of course, that hindered y'all's college fund. You didn't. We weren't a
College overrated. It's fine.
We were not a 2-career family.
Yeah.
So
hey, perspective. I'm doing all right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I went to college, but no, I wouldn't have. Like if I would know now what I do, if I'm doing what I know now, I want to go to college. It's fine.
Yeah. And that's true. But I think God has used y'all in what your names mean. I mean, your favorite color is purple, or it was when you were a little bitty, Lydia. It still is.
I mean, purple and black, so it's a little more gothy than it was when I was a kid. But it's still.
But you had a little purple dress that you threw fits over when I wouldn't dress you in that little purple dress, and then you had a little purple velvet dress.
The velvet one is the one that I remember because I have a memory of putting it in my mouth.
Yes, you used to chew on it. Yeah.
But now I have this huge aversion to velvet. I can't. Like, it makes me, like, my skin crawls and my throat closes up. If I, like, touch velvet, I don't like it.
Yeah, because you chewed on it when you were little. So.
But it didn't bother me back then if I kept doing it. But now I touch velvet and I just, no, thank you. I'm good.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, I named y'all. I had your names picked out a long time before you got here.
Yeah.
And James and Daniel, too.
Then we have a brother, a younger brother.
James
Daniel.
Yeah.
So here's the other thing I'm wondering. You come from a big family. Dad's Hispanic, although he did not come from a big family.
Yeah.
How the heck did we just end up with 3 kids? Like, how did you not go for broke?
Because my mother told every one of us, don't you dare have more than 3 children.
Oh, really?
Because you need to give them more attention. You need to raise them with more attention to what they need.
Does anybody have more than 3?
Besides, most of them have. Let's see.
No, now Alan had 3. I had 3.
Everybody's got 3 or 2, right? 3, 2, or 1.
Yes, 3, 2, or 1.
Well, nobody has more than 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. I didn't know that.
Oh no, she said don't have more than 3.
Yeah, because that's always my story.
Because she always wanted 12.
Yeah. Well, that's always part of my story because I always say, I come from a really big family. I'm half Hispanic, half white. But the funny thing is the white side.
The white people are the ones. Yeah. The Mexicans is 2, and that's it.
Yeah.
Which is odd.
And one cousin, or one cousin by marriage and 2 by marriage and 1 by birth.
Yeah.
So I just have 3 cousins there, but I have 52 on my mom's side.
Yes.
On the white folks.
Yeah. So it's that's always, I guess I was just thinking about that earlier when you were saying you come from 9 and grandma come from 9 and grandpa come from 12, just thought, why would you only have 3?
Because Mama said stop, and just funny. Raising, of course, as the years went on, the cost of living went up. Taking care of more than 3 children was not always easy. So and we were just a one. Daddy was the only one working at times,
Yeah.
and sometimes not making that much.
Yeah.
Until he went into to teaching and mid management,
Yeah.
and then I went to church. I went to work for the church,
Yeah.
but that was never that much pay.
Yeah.
We worked a lot of hours,
Yeah.
but it was not. There were no benefits. There was,
Yeah.
I, uh,
Yeah,
what
because that's the only job. That's honestly the only job I remember you having is working at the Atwood Forest.
yes,
So I
and
don't
it's
know
the
if
only
that's
job I
true
ever
or not.
had.
Yeah.
Other than I worked for an exterminating company. My 10th, my high school year, or no, the
Mhm.
summer before senior year.
Yeah.
So, but that's the only two jobs I've ever had.
Yeah.
Right there.
You got to be a
So
mom to like the best daughters on the planet. So that's
I
pretty
did.
fulfilling, I would imagine.
That's why you're so good, is because Mama stayed home and raised you. I just raised you right.
Hey, I appreciate that.
Yes.
I'm all about it.
I mean, like I said, it didn't work out well for the college funds, but you did
Nah,
turn out. You turned out okay. So
I'm not that upset about it.
oh, good. So
So I guess when you think about raising us kids, like what is I mean, like what were some of the greatest joys, about that you remember about your kids? And then like what was your biggest heartache with us kids?
yeah.
Setting her up for that one.
I don't know.
Down, Mama.
Y'all were just. I loved my babies.
Yeah.
I love my babies. I had so much joy in raising y'all as
Yeah.
babies, and I've always been proud of you. I'm sure. I mean, I know we had normal fusses and fights.
Yeah.
And I guess I tried to raise you like my mother raised us. But yeah, I do look back and think that probably it would have been okay for you to go to see the Backstreet Boys back in them days, Lydia.
It was New Kids on the Block.
In those
Mom.
places you wanted to go and all that.
You just New Kids on the Block because they were secular.
Yes, they were
I
secular.
couldn't go.
They
They were having a
worldly.
contest on TV giving away tickets, and I kept trying to win on the phone. And Mom was like, "You win, you still ain't going." So it was very upsetting. But then also too, as an adult now, I know that we probably didn't have the money for that.
Yes.
We would not have had the money to get tickets to that.
just
But yes,
didn't.
it was very
Yeah.
heartbreaking.
I know.
See, I could go to concerts at Astroworld. I saw
Yes.
DC Talk. That was my first concert at Astroworld. That was okay. But I couldn't go see New Kids on the Block.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's fine.
But-
it's fine. I have adult money now. I can go see them because they're still on tour. They're going again this summer. So
You are.
I got disposable income now. I can go.
You turned out okay.
Yeah.
Turned out okay. So, but I was proud of y'all in the band. I was proud of y'all's being in the band and in school, and I was just proud that y'all didn't end up in jail somewhere. I'm just.
Well, there's still some.
I had not raised criminals.
Yeah.
It was a little sketchy.
I
with
mean,
yeah, yeah,
one incident.
yeah. That's
We're not
it.
going to throw that out in the world.
No, but I do want to know where it was you and Melissa went one time at her wedding. She said something about y'all going someplace out of town or out of state.
No, it was,
Out
she
of
said it.
state.
I
Crossing
do
the
not
state lines.
recall. I do not recall that.
Oh, my foot.
Or tell you what, we'll save that for when Melissa's on here.
Okay, there you go. You bet.
We'll reveal
You
those
bet.
secrets when Melissa comes on
Melissa
here.
comes on. No, that's going to be a great one. Everybody stay tuned, okay?
Yeah,
Tune in.
that's Sweeps Week.
Yes.
Sweeps
Yep,
Week.
that's it. So,
So looking back, like on your, your motherhood and stuff, the joys. We talk about the joys. Like, what was the not so joyous? Like, what? I know we really disappoint you, but
I don't know that I've been disappointed.
I said heartbroken because it's
Heartbroken.
easy to get heartbroken. I think as a mom, it's easy to be. You're not mad at kids. You're not mad at your kids, but you do get your heart breaks for either
Yes.
their choices or their whatever. It's always that's always like, even, I mean, because listen, I know that I was a pain in high school and coming out of high school, and then having my kids the way I did, and which we'll also get into in my episode.
Yeah.
But so I know that I was not easy in high school. Listen, we're going to tell the chicken story that I know. Like, so the funniest story I think I can say now, but is that mom has always been very even keeled, very much like grandma, very calm, very, whatever. So it's just very matter of factly. So anytime she lost it, I can honestly say now, having 3 kids of my own, it was warranted. It was
Goodness.
I deserve
100%.
everything I got.
Yeah,
I
and
will
probably
quit feeling guilty about
no,
that. Yeah.
you can let it go, because
That I've
every
ruined y'all's
step
life.
of the way,
Yes.
I 100% can look back and go, yep, deserved that. Actually deserved worse, because
Yeah.
You gotta tell them now.
Yeah.
so I remember arguing with you in the kitchen, and I was standing, it's a long galley kitchen, and you were standing at one end of the kitchen, I was standing at the other end of the kitchen, and I don't even remember what we were arguing about. But so I had to have been in either a junior or senior, I guess a
Now,
sophomore, junior.
wasn't
This is
that
the
at the
house on
house
Freeport.
on
On
Freeport?
Freeport,
Yes,
the big
yes,
2-story house. So
yes,
we're in that
yes,
galley
yes.
kitchen. So that was
Mm.
sophomore, junior year, maybe freshman, sophomore year. So that tells you the age, that I was. I don't remember what we were arguing about, but you kept telling me no, and I kept arguing, and you kept saying no, and I kept arguing and kept saying no. And
Yeah.
it went for a few minutes. The whole time you're cooking and you were frying chicken. So you flouring the chicken, wetting the chicken flour, put it in the grease. And at some point you turned and threw a piece of chicken, raw chicken,
Raw chicken.
at me, and it hit me in the chest. And I was like, this broad is crazy. She's nuts. Because you were just done talking to me, and I just kept going at it. And as I said, now being on the back end of 3 kids, where you're just like, oh, raw chicken was her way of staying sane. Like, it was
Yes,
her way of not knocking me out
this is true.
in the
This is
teeth,
true.
like, because you just, as a mother, no matter how much Jesus you have, a teenage daughter will
Yeah.
make you crazy.
I figured
Like,
a piece of chicken was better than the words that were coming out of my mouth.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
Or
true.
they're throwing a hammer at her head.
yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
chicken or hammer, which one do you
Yeah.
want?
So
But we
hence
always,
today, your husband has to cut up the chickens, huh?
oh yeah, he does. That is my
Yes,
trauma, is that I won't
that
touch raw chicken.
won't touch raw chicken.
Ugh. Even with raw chicken. But
True.
in my defense, you did tell me no, like a calm person, probably 3 or
I
400
know, probably.
times prior
Yeah.
to that. So, but so in dealing with that, like, what was just like funny stories there that we can look back now, that at the time you thought, oh, I'm gonna kill this kid,
Yes.
and but now it's funny.
I don't remember having
It is
like,
now.
but I think that I was
No, Lydia, you were perfect. We
no,
all
but I
know.
think I was definitely, I'm not anymore, but I was people pleaser almost. Like, I didn't want to get in trouble. I didn't want to do all that. Like, I just,
No, you really did not give me that much trouble.
till I moved out.
Sorry, Dorcas. Sorry, Dorcas.
I
No.
think, well,
But-
I was very
but-
much rebellious after the fact. I think I got my first tattoo within 2 weeks of me moving out of your house. I got drunk for the first
Yeah.
time 2 weeks after moving out of your house.
Oh,
And
you just went wild, yeah.
I did. I mean, it was that preacher's kid thing. It's like, okay, well, I'm out. It's freedom. Let's do it. And I'm sure there's underlying stuff I can, figure out in therapy about why that happened. But I don't remember you and I having that kind of
Contentious. We weren't, but I begged you to stay home, go to work, get your college, and just stay at the house and live at the house and do that. But I mean, immediately you moved out. You went to work as a
waitress.
waitress at Pappas.
Yeah.
Then you were a hostess, and then you were a bartender, and all that. So yeah, doing the bartending thing, really broke my heart.
My favorite was when church
I look
people would come
bad,
in and see me.
Yeah. And then I think when Dorcas, when you had said, well, I'm pregnant right out of high
As we
school.
say, let me set the
Yes.
bar for you, Lydia. Let me set the bar.
Yes.
Let me make whatever you do look not so bad.
Because if
And
anything, Mama needed a bartender at that point. Thank you very much.
yes, but your
Well, I was in high
grandmother,
school when you got pregnant, but yeah.
Yeah.
yes.
Well,
Well,
that's why you couldn't do anything because I was too busy causing too much trauma, too much stress.
I didn't do anything to do. I mean, we're
but
nerds.
when I told Mother about you being pregnant, you're going to have a baby.
Yeah.
And, she basically said, just suck it up. I'm
Yeah.
heartbroken. I'd had other plans for you.
Yeah.
And it wasn't to be with,
Get knocked up.
yeah.
It wasn't in the plan.
That one, the plans. It was not the plans. And so, she just said, get over it. It is
Yeah.
what it is. It's a baby. It's a baby.
Yeah.
And so she really
A
helped me to
beautiful
keep
baby.
things in perspective and know what was important. It wasn't what was not important was what other people thought about it.
Yeah.
You can't undo it.
just
Yeah, because that's well,
Yeah.
but honestly, when your dad was a pastor and now he's a teacher, but then your mom works in the church you all go to and all that, it was it can be a hard thing to go. My daughter's knocked up. Hi.
Yeah.
Because you take things personally. I know everything my kids do, I take personally.
Yes, you
I
do.
feel like I did it wrong.
Yes.
So I know that had to have been when I say heartbreak, that's what I mean. Like it had to have been not
Yes,
really your
because you
fault.
take it. What did I do? I thought I was
Yeah.
educating and all that, and I had plans. I had plans for y'all.
Yeah.
For heaven's sakes, I named you Dorcas.
Yeah.
So, but God does work all things out for His good and His glory. He takes our mistakes or whatever we feel we didn't do it right, and He just look at you, at us. He works it out for His good and His glory.
Yeah.
So you do have to just relax, get over yourself, and give it to the Lord.
Yeah.
So so anybody else going through disappointment, so He does.
Yeah, and it's and everything that I guess the like the lesson looking back to it the things that we went through growing up or the just different things. It's like it's always so temporary and you just don't feel that in the moment. You don't feel like it's you getting pregnant at 20 is devastating. Just devastating.
Yeah.
Turns out it wasn't that bad.
It
It wasn't that bad. We've paid a price for it, We've paid price for it, but it is all worked out. And it is,
Mother always said, this too shall pass.
Yeah.
Anytime I went to it, this too shall pass.
Yeah.
You will make it through this. And learning that other people have some way harder times than we did.
Yeah.
Truly.
Yeah. And then now you've got, let's see, I've got 3 kids. James has 3 kids. Lydia has 4 kids. So you're looking at 10 grandkids already.
Yeah. And we're just crazy about each and every one of them.
Yeah.
Just absolutely. I wish I was younger so I could keep up with them. I don't know
that any of us had them, in a traditional sense. You know what I mean?
True.
Maybe
yes,
Cody,
I do.
Cody counts, I guess, is because Wayne and I were married and then had Cody. But the girls we didn't. James's girl, but they're all. I mean, we're great kids. Like they're all great kids, and it's. I guess that's kind of like is a great testament of grandma, passed down to you is that it's just like I said at the beginning, it's just it doesn't matter how we got here. It's just we're here and we're family and we love each other and
absolutely
that's who we are.
Yes. It is who we are, and it's what we hope to pass down.
Yeah,
to pass on, to keep going.
Yeah,
a family inheritance. Just no drama, not the anger or the bitterness or the hating, because we've all made each other mad at time or two.
Yeah,
down through our lives, and we have things that broke our heart, but you let it go. You
Yeah.
know, you
Yeah.
really have to know that if you want to live happy, you got to
Yeah.
let it go
Yeah.
and forgive and let people's mistakes just be that. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
So I guess,
for
Mom,
sure.
like what if you were to want your grandchildren, what do you want your grandchildren to know about you? What do you want your legacy um to be?
Um, I would want my grandchildren to know that there's nothing worth being bitter or angry about or holding on to, being mad about someone else's shortcomings or
Yeah.
faults or failures. Or I think learning to forgive and turning loose of the past is absolutely uh, the only way to move on to where God intends you to be is to turn loose of what you're holding on to in the past.
Yeah.
Um, absolutely. Um, to not look back to those things that you've already come through, the
Yeah.
things that your past. It's already burned up. God's already finished with it. He brought you through those things to the where you're at today, and you can't go forward until you quit looking backwards. Does that make
Yeah.
sense at all?
Yeah.
I
No, it
mean,
does.
you gotta
Yeah.
you can't put your eyes on what God has ahead for you if you're just holding on to whatever. It
Yeah.
don't matter whatever, you know, uh, in the past. Let it go
Yeah. Yeah.
and
So we'll
move
put
on.
I always think, if we're going to talk about our favorite memory of you, um, it's always, we joke about
Really,
your tombstone saying we're going to take a chicken out. And because that's just your standard answer when you invite people over for dinner. Well,
yes, we're gonna take a
I'm going to
chicken
take the
out.
chicken out.
I haven't said that in a
So
long time. I don't
I
think.
know. But, okay, so we'll put let it go on your tombstone too. So
Yes,
take a chicken out
yes.
and let it go.
Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Um,
Uh,
and just look forward to
yeah.
what God has for you
Yeah.
uh, ahead. You know.
Mom, I think you're a good mom. You're very even keeled, like your mother. You're the most unjudgmental person I think that I know. You are a normal mom. Like I know so many people in my life who, frankly, their mothers are not normal. Like they have issues with their mothers, and I've always been so
Yeah.
blessed to be like, yeah, my mom's completely normal because her mother was normal because her mother was normal.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with quirky moms. There's nothing wrong with quirky moms, but we just don't have issues. And so whenever I was thinking about like what my favorite memories of you are in preparation for today, there's two that come to mind that say a lot. One of them, it says a lot about who you are. And like I said, you're the most unjudgmental person ever. Like I always remember, and I think about whenever we would host Thanksgiving or something at your house in North Shore
Yeah.
for all those years, Thanksgiving or Christmas. And, as the sweet little Christian lady that you are, like smoking's not okay. Smoking's not good for you. But you would set up a smoker section out in the garage for people, like the table and the ashtrays, because you don't agree with it and it's not good for you, but you're still going to be a good hostess. You're not going to be a bad hostess to the family coming over.
Absolutely
So
not.
you would set up a smoker section
Yeah.
because
Because
you're a
they're
good
going to
lady.
do it. You just
They're
can't.
going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just
They
don't want the
will.
butts on the garage floor.
Yes.
That's what's already occurred to me. But my favorite memory of you, and I don't remember why this happened, but I was in high school. And my recollection, and maybe I hope you remember this because it was a pivotal time in our story. But you came to me one morning. I was getting ready for school, and you told me to play hooky, skip school, and okay. So I skipped school. You and I went to Galveston, and it was just you and me. And we went to the beach. We went and ate at
Yes.
like Guido's, or we went to some
Yeah.
restaurant or whatever. And
Joe's Crab Shack.
maybe yes, it was
Yeah.
Joe's Crab Shack
It was
before we knew
Joe's
better.
Crab Shack. Yes.
And we went to Joe's Crab Shack, and you and I just had lunch together. The waiter hit on you. The waiter,
Okay.
you got up to go to the bathroom, and the waiter was like, "So is your friend single?" I was like, "My mother? Yeah, the mom's not single." And I mean, you're a beautiful woman, you know. So I was just like, no.
Okay, yeah, I
And
remember that.
and he was like, "Is your friend single?" I was like, "No, she's not." But it was just, I don't remember why or what the motive, but you just told me
I
to
don't
skip school that
remember.
day, and we played hooky,
We did.
and
We did.
we went to the beach. It was just me and you, and
Yes.
I don't know why. Like, as an adult, because I'm very skeptical and because I assume that there's, like, you know, something's going on. It's like, was there something bad? Like, did something bad happen and you needed a day to deal with it? Or were you just, do you
That's
remember?
probably me.
I remember. Yes, I remember our trip
It was
together.
probably me.
What?
It's probably
Like,
me.
Dorcas? It's like, your sister's pregnant. Let's go.
It might have been. I'm telling you.
Let me see. She's pregnant again.
So yeah, I
Yeah,
remember
'cause
that. I love that
it's,
day. I
I
love
know,
Galveston.
and I don't know
Yeah.
where, you would never, like, you didn't let me skip school. Like, it was just not
Right.
something you did, but something you just you needed a day. Is kind of
Yeah.
how, in my story goes, you needed a day,
Yeah.
and
we went,
and
didn't
we
we?
went.
We
Yeah, we
did.
did, and we
Yeah.
just went to the beach and we played hooky, and it was lovely. And so that's one of my favorite
It
memories.
was
I think about
lovely.
that. You know,
Yeah.
just not understanding, and I still don't, but you
Yeah.
know, it's okay.
I remember that. I don't remember that you skipped school to do it, but that's okay too. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was all right.
Yeah. It was. It
And,
was. It was. Well.
and so that's my favorite memory of you, and my favorite memory of Grandma. And I said we'll have a Connie episode with our other grandmother. My favorite memory of Annie was when she was getting older, and she would, you know, I would call her. I would do this thing like once or twice a week. I would call her on my way home and talk to her.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that was when she was not remembering a lot of people and all this stuff. And Aunt Debbie, who lived with her, would be like,
Yes.
excuse my language. She's like, you know, how the hell are you calling up in here? She doesn't know who I am, but she knows who you are. And I'm like, well, first off, Deborah, she loves me more than she loves you.
That's right.
And we'd get on the phone, and she would just, like, we would pick up where we left off, and she would remember our conversations. We would just go talk. And I don't know why, we started talking about her mother passing away and her father getting remarried.
Yes.
And she's telling me, and I did not realize
Yeah.
her stepmom. I didn't realize that Grandma had a stepmother at some point. And we were talking. I said, Grandma, I didn't know that. And she was like, oh, don't worry about it, honey. She was a bitch. and we made up things that out. But I had never in my entire life, my grandmother didn't cuss. My grandmother was not mean to anybody. She was a sweet. And I immediately got off the phone with Grandma, and I called you, and I was like, Mom.
Yes. Yes. I remember the phone call.
And then that was that memory. And then the time that she was at the lake house with us. We were at the lake house, and we were in the bedroom, and I was scratching her back, and we were just sitting there talking on the bed, and I was scratching her back, and she goes, oh, that's better than sex. And I almost died right there at the lake. I just stopped living. And I'm kidding. I did the same thing. I came up, she was like, do you know what your mother just said to me? And I was like, well, you did have 11 kids, so I'm not under the illusion that you didn't like it. Because Grandpa was a hottie, so, okay. So.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, so that she sent me into therapy after that. I was like, well, Grandma called somebody the B word, and she's had sex. So. Next time on, you know, therapy sessions. Yeah. So good times.
That's true. That's true. So
God bless Grandma.
I think my favorite, I mean, just something that just cracks me up because two things. Let me say this: that we talked about you doing a blog for this podcast, so you doing that. So I was sharing that with somebody, saying, you know, telling we're going to do this, and this is a friend of both Lydia and I won't say her name now, but she, you know, has some issues with her own mom and that kind of crazy. But she did say, she goes, oh my God, I love your mom. She goes, make her do a vlog, a video blog. She goes, because I just love to hear her talk and hear her voice and keep her, because you have such a calm, you know, thing. And I don't know, I think you have, even if you're trying to cut somebody, it comes across nice. You know,
keep it nice.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You keep it, even if you're going to say something that is not the nicest, like the nurse. Okay, the
Yes.
nurse in when I was having Cody,
Yes.
and I
Yes.
was in the labor and
She
delivery, and
deserved that, though. She
I know,
deserved it.
but it was really one of those things that. So this will be my favorite memory, and then I have one more, but so I was in labor and delivery. Cody came, he was my third child. He was coming very fast. And at some point I felt him bloop like this. And the nurse, I'm telling mom and my husband, I'm going, he just moved. Like he's coming. Like we've been here 15 minutes and he's coming. And she just goes, the nurse was an older lady. And she just goes, hon, he's not coming. You just got here. I just checked you a few minutes ago. It's not happening. I'm looking at mom going, it's coming. Like he said, he just moved. He's coming out.
You
And
knew it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I knew he had and he was fixing to slip right out. Somebody better catch him. But mom comes across she's on, and I'm in pain and it's happening. And I just hear mom go, hon, how long have you been doing this? And I was like, it's like one of those things where you're laying there with one eye going, oh, well, that's not going to help us get anything done. Like, there we go. So, it's just very sweet. And she goes, just proceeds to tell her that this is my third baby and she would like her to check me again and blah, blah, blah. And sure enough, she was coming, and she actually went, oh God, baby's right there. And she did page the doctor, who just happened to be walking by, and we told him, hey, he's coming. He came in, reached down, pulls him out, and he goes, oh, my pager just went off. There we go.
There you go. To come on and deliver this baby, which he was holding already in his hand.
Yeah.
So
I think he got gloves on. And the thing is, what's great about that story is that we were all in there because it happened so fast.
Yes.
Like we were all just standing around in the the L&D room waiting for this to happen, and bam! And so we were all in there for Kobe's birth, and we're like, okay,
the
whole family's here.
The funny thing is like she literally was cutting somebody, but it was
verbally.
nice.
It was nice. I did it nicely.
That's her version of bless your heart.
Yeah.
There you go.
How long have you been doing this?
They're sad, and I think for me, what's always just so funny is the diversity of who you are, all the really great things that you do, for your family. And like I say, when I call, that time I called you, and it's just one of those things where every time I know I call and I say, what are you doing? I'm going to get the long version of what you're doing. It's going to be not, I'm just hanging out. And it, like I said, it always starts with, well, so this particular day I called and said, hey mom, what are you doing? And you said, well, I'm just sitting here making breakfast for your dad, and I'm getting ready to go to Bible study, so I'm getting ready for that, and I'm just trying to figure out who the Golden Gate Killer is. And I was like, okay, that's a Thursday morning. Okay. Or a Tuesday morning or whatever. And it was
that was the whole marathon. I'm telling you.
I know.
Once we figured it out, oh Lord,
Yeah. So I do love that diversity that you were, at any given moment you're taking care of dad.
I can multitask.
You were
getting for Jesus time.
You were getting ready for Bible study with your ladies, and you were still trying to help California out.
That's right. Well, see, I could weave that into a Bible study real quick, okay? Because there's a verse that says, what's done in secret will be shouted from the rooftops.
Yes.
Amen.
And it was.
They got him,
Yeah, they did. They did. So it wasn't long after that they did end up figuring out who he was. But that's just always, that's just anytime I'm telling you want to know who my mom is, this is who she is.
With gusto, baby. With gusto.
That's right. And I can be nice about it too.
Yeah. Oh, but I think what I was saying about our friend, she really thinks you should do a video blog instead of writing. She wants you to do video so she can hear your voice. So you'll be happy to know.
Well, she'll just have to tune in here, won't she?
Yes.
Yes.
Will. So
join us any minute.
Well, I imagine that over the next couple of weeks and months, as we, each of us, shares our stories and we get other people, we're going to come back to you because I'm sure there is much, much more. That
many a sister we're going to be trying to put in too.
The surface,
yeah. I think let's put
a couple of sisters on here, yeah. So
we'll get the skivvy. Okay, well, I think this is a good place to wrap her up.
Well, okay.
So thank you so much, guys, again for tuning in. I know this is a little long-winded. These first ones might be a little extensive as we just kind of figure out what we're doing
And this
then
is just
really
how conversations
enjoy
of us go. We start on one
Yeah.
thing, and the three of us sit around. Next thing you know, we're talking about the
Yes.
Golden State Killer, Mom's meatloaf recipe,
Yeah.
and then you know that time that Sissy got a chicken leg thrown at her head.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that's usually how our conversations go. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you.
Please be sure to subscribe to The Mother You Know on all social media platforms and connect with us on social media. We can't wait to hear from people. Please reach out at themotheryouknow@gmail.com or at themotheryouknow.com. So this is another great week. We'll talk to y'all next week.
And thank you again to American Swindle for the music. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you.
For sure.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.